Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. So before we start, I would like to let you know that Lamageddon has started on the farm, and considering the type of year that we've been having, this might be the cutest kitten that we've gotten this year. So the mom is a black belly Barbados, and the father was a St. Croix, which means these babies Caribbeans. So they're both boys, and they are incredibly cute. And I'm glad that they're healthy and their mom has accepted them. And my mom is going to force me to go down and take pictures every day. So I guess um, we'll just have lamb cam season here on this channel. So I'd like to actually talk to you today about all of the different variations of strategy and my opinions on doing options on them right now. So for the underlying, which is MSTR, it is $294.50 right now, which means you would need $29,450. And if you look at my portfolio, that's just too much of a portion of my portfolio to put in one single contract, which leaves us with the option to buy a call just really far into the future, which makes it a leaps. And so if I wanted to have like a 0.8 delta, then it would be, like $15,000, which is still half of my portfolio. So that's why I am not doing a leaps on MSTR right now. I am bullish in the long term, but I would like to caution you that I still believe in that 4-year cycle in April 28th, not April 28th, April in 2028, there should be another halving. And the halving doesn't happen and then immediately the prices go up. Like, you have to bleed the data miners first a little bit, and there's just a little bit of a domino effect. So I would want to time my leaps option to be kind of like probably in June 2027. That way it gives it enough time for the halving to happen and the expected run up. And then you can exercise this to, buy the calls to buy at that price at any point. So I just am leery about that as an option right now anyways. So then Misty, when I first got into it, I was looking at the historical data for Misty, which was only like 3 months. And then when I was doing the research into the company, they're like, oh, it's basically just a shell company for Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. You can just take my money. and then I did more research into strategy. So for the longest time, there wasn't enough volume in MSTY or any of the YieldMax funds for it to be worth it to sell a put to get into and then do cover calls on. But now we do have the weekly option chain for Misty. So this means that if you take the average distribution that you're wanting for Misty and then you divide it by 4.3, that should be what you are getting with the option each week, even when you roll. And then if it's just like after the ex-div date, you sell the put 3 times, and if you don't get assigned, you just buy the 100 shares, then that's fine too. But MSTYs, when you sell a call, it's still not worth it, really. But that's just my opinion. So it's just like you have to do the lowest one, or else it's like a 5-cent reward. So that's just my opinion, that if you're going to do options and not just sell a put in order to get in at that certain price, that you should maybe look into a different ticker to do options with. And then Roundhill, they had a prospectus to do MSTW, which was the weekly MicroStrategies at the time ETF. And I was like, ugh, I want to get a weekly MSTY with my soul. But they just kept not coming out with it. And so I was looking at my options. I have my options for options, basically. Like, what do I want to own? What has high implied volatility? What, has high throughput traffic? What is the frequency? If I get assigned it with the put, can I turn around and sell a cover call and it be worth it? And just all these questions, and like mostly, is it in my price point? And MSTX was at the time $24, and I sold puts on it. And what I did at the time was I took the average distribution for MSTY, divided that by the price, and I was like, okay, my puts that I put on, I just want 14 cents of profit or more. So I was really, really far out of the money. I never got assigned. That was fine. But I was actually asked the other day, like, is there a reason to own the leverage ETFs besides for option stuff? And MSTX out of nowhere went from like $24 to over $100. I think it was over $100. It was expensive anyways. And it was out of my price range. So I was not happy for it to go above, $75. And I didn't have any shares because I was selling puts on it. So that's why and I also liked at the time that it was a 1.5 leverage. I think that's a more appropriate amount of leverage for this, but whatever. But then MSTU, and also I was doing a forward split, so then this became $17. MSTX was like $90. So I decided with this that I actually would not buy a leap, because when you when you buy the call and then you sell a put using that leap's contract as the collateral, then the broker will not allow you to have those shares assigned away. So if you get close, or if it's expiring, you actually have to roll it over or close the position. So leaps take more management, and I figured for $17, or it wasn't as much, like $1,500, I'll just sell a put close to where the money is at the moment, hope for the best. And so strategy's been on a downward trend, because I got into this right around I got it when it switched over, but that was around the time that Michael Saylor wound up diluting the shares and through ATM, and now he's doing the bond thing. So the price has been not as high as usual lately. So the growth hasn't been what it has been in the past. So it's fine. We still like strategy, but especially when normal quality stocks, if it was going to take me $20,000 to go into one contract, how much more money could I make doing, $20 on a $4 stock? And MSTU is something that if I get caught with this, if I get assigned, I'm more than happy to have it in my portfolio as long as I have enough cash and margin maintenance and stuff. So, in my opinion, MSTU, since it's the cheaper of the 2X funds, that I have decided to have, a few hundred shares, and then I keep 100 out of having contracts written against it. That way, if the price really does go up and the 2X, compounds it, and so it's up even more, then I do want 100 shares that just don't have, like, they're not under their cover call contracts. So anyways, hopefully that last part made sense. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about, oh, by the way, when I sold Misty, it actually lowered my cost basis because the first shares of Misty's that I bought were actually at $30. So now that my cost basis is $1 less, I'm now 80% paid off with Misty, which is exciting because it's getting closer to the point where I made back 100% of my investment, so there's no risk. So, I mean, Robinhood might disagree that there's no risk, but to me, it's not risky because I have all of my money back. But I'd like to tell you a little bit about YieldMight. If you have an initial investment amount that you're thinking about, let's say you have $1,000 you want to invest, then last week for LFGY you would have gotten $11.05, which is correlates with this, and then you would have that maths out to being about $47, and then monthly, and then annually about $574. So you can go through each week and view the details if you would like, and this has the distribution amount and the close price. That way you can have a better visualization of how well do these things actually hold their NAV or, not. So let me know what you think. Now that we're either in winter or nearing winter, are you de-risking yourself with Misty, or are you really, really excited that it's been announced that we're going to have a crypto reserve and Bitcoin's going to be a part of it? And so now is the time to be in Misty. So I'll talk to you all later. Have a good night.